So just notice the now, this now in your body, this emerging landscape of you. Never before quite like right now. When you turn your gaze inwards, what are the first layers of you that you feel into that become really obvious? And what parts of you present themselves? Is it the wellness of you that speaks loudest, or is it discomfort and charge that speaks loudest? And just deepen your breath into your belly. And as you drop your awareness down, as you connect into your belly, into your breath, just begin to notice the full of you, the whole of you right now. The breath as you inhale, as you exhale. The depth of the layers of you. There's so much to us. We are vast in the sensations that we can feel, that we can perceive. So very, very simply, let's try and find 5 different types of sensations in this moment in our bodies. So there is definitely pressure from the floor. So notice what pressure feels like from the floor. It is a very firm, steady, very particular feeling. The feeling of our weight resting on the flat of the floor. Where in your body are you most present to that? Is it the back of your head, your shoulders, your back, your legs, your feet? Where do you really think, oh, there I can feel weight, there I can feel that sense of pressure into the floor? And then there's movement. Life is motion. You are in motion in this moment. Every cell is moving. Every part of you is in motion. So where do you feel movement in you? Where do you perceive the movement of you? Where is that in your body that you perceive that movement in this moment? And then feeling your breath. The breath has a very particular set of sensations to it. There's the feeling of air through the nostrils down into your throat. There's a pressure that emerges in the chest, a movement of the diaphragm, a filling into the belly. See if you can unpack a little bit the feeling of your breath. What are the different sensations that emerge around your breath that you're most present to right now? And then feeling temperature. How do you perceive temperature right now? The feeling of your hands, your feet, the way your fingers and toes are in contact, or the way they feel the air around them. Maybe you feel temperature on your eyelids, on your lips, on the skin of your face. So that's the external temperature of the room. And then there's the internal temperature of you, the feeling of your limbs, your torso, How do you perceive? They're very different, but just temperature, outside, inside. And the last sensation, the feeling of lightness. Can you feel the hair on your forehead from your head? Just a very incredibly light contact. Maybe the feeling of the clothing around your neck, or the feeling of the edges of your clothing on your arms or on your belly, or just notice the feeling of light contact on your skin. It's different than the deep contact of the floor. You know, that sense of the contact, that sense of the containment that our clothing gives. You would feel very different if you're lying here without your blanket, without your clothes on. It's a very different sensation, and we know that feeling. It's a different sensation in our bodies. Just feeling that of clothing, of blanket, of very light contact of your hair or whatever it is. Nice, cool, very lovely. So bending your knees and bring your feet to stand. Feet are hip distance apart and flat on the floor, and your spine is long on the floor. And just have a sense of the lower back, your buttocks, the back of the rib cage. And then draw your lower back down and flatten into the floor. And so as you do this, feel how you're moving into the belly, moving into the torso, moving into the pelvis and the buttocks. So arching, flattening, arching, flattening. So you're moving into the belly, moving into your hips. Notice where there's a drag or a dullness in this movement, or where there's connection and smoothness. Where do you feel the movement in your body in this moment, and see if you can make it even smoother. So for me to make it smoother, I have to slow down and not push as much into the very end of the range of motion, but really listen to how I come to the end. So I'm slowing down before I come to the end of it, rather than going fast and kind of jamming into the end of the movement. So slow the movement down, and how would you make this movement even smoother through the spine, through the hips, through the buttocks? Nice. And then pushing your feet into the floor, begin to roll up along your spine and make it that same smoothness as we just discovered. So as you slowly travel up and down along the spine, you're really smoothly, deeply connecting your body to the floor and how your body leaves the floor. So you're rolling up and down, you're hearing the back of your body in contact, and you're cultivating that smoothness. So the smoothness emerges because you're moving slowly, you're moving with awareness, and you're listening to the suggestions of the end of your range, rather than being stopped and unable to move any further in a kind of a mindless way. You're being very bodyful as you do this. So traveling up and down, hearing just that sense of how do I travel up smoothly, and how do I travel down smoothly. Nice. One more time. Traveling up really smoothly. Go slowly. And then traveling all the way down and land on the floor. Bring both arms out to the side and just sway your knees very gently from side to side, and again have that same quality of smoothness. So we're not going anywhere, we're really deeply cultivating a sense of an experience of being in the body. It's that a little bit of movement in a lot of different places. So can you feel how your rib cage is moving as you do this? Maybe you can feel the glide of your shoulder blades on the floor, or even the pull into the back of the hand that you're moving away from. As you glide or rock gently from side to side, you're hearing into the belly, into the psoas, into the pelvis, into the hips, and you're really feeling that you're only going as far as a sense of a connecting in, more so than any kind of forcing. It's a sense of connectivity, a sense of deepening. Nice, and then come all the way back to center. And draw your right knee up onto your chest, squeeze it in. And just hold your knee down towards you and pause there. Really settling through the lower back, deepening into the hip. Feeling the thigh that comes down towards the belly. And then slowly just smush your knee slightly from side to side. So holding on to your shin, draw your knee a little bit to the right and then a little bit to the left. And again, you're trying to cultivate that softness and that smoothness. So to do that, you have to hear where you want to end and pause because you feel the sensation of ending more so than you're blocked by the range of motion ending. So trying to make things smooth actually really changes our experience of something. Nice. Bring your arms long beside you and draw a smooth circle with your knee in the air above you. So your knee is bent and you're just circling. And for me, there's a certain part of this circle that I have to really pay attention to because my inner thigh struggles a little bit with it. So I go slowly in that moment. Or I make the movement a little bit smaller to strengthen the range a little bit less. So I don't have to struggle. I can make the range a bit smaller and I can really just connect into my inner thigh as I move my knee in a circle. Nice, and then circle in the other direction. So they call it regression. So rather than progressing all the time to deeper and deeper something, it's you go back a bit and you work on a range that's slightly smaller, and as a result you learn what you need to learn to then progress. Progression doesn't always look like your maximum range of motion. Nice. Draw your left knee up towards you, squeeze, or right knee up towards you, squeeze it in. And then stretch your right leg up towards the ceiling, holding on to the back of your leg. Just pull your leg gently down towards you. And then bend your right knee, squeeze your right knee up onto your chest. Stretch your leg long and slowly pull your leg down towards you. So again, you're a little bit of movement in a lot of different places. Bend your knee, squeeze your knee up onto your chest. Smoothly, steadily, hearing your leg. So you're feeling the lengthening rather than just the end of the range of motion. Again, one last time, squeeze your knee towards your chest, stretch through your leg and gently pull your leg towards you. Nice. Lower your right foot to the floor, stretch your arms out to the side, and then glide your knees gently from side to side. And you're just hearing the soft belly, the lower back massaging, the back of the buttocks, the lower back, and you just hear a sense of smoothness. So smoothness again changes how you feel. So as soon as you imagine that you want to be smooth, you start to connect the whole range together. There's a sense of presence in the continuity of what you're doing. A little bit of movement in many different places as you draw your knees from side to side. Nice. Come back to center. Draw the left knee up onto your chest and squeeze it deeply down. As you feel your left knee drawing down towards you, check in with your hip. Check in with your buttocks, your knee. Can you soften into it? Can you change the state of your legs somehow by softening your face or softening your breath or easing into the leg in some way? Nice. And then smush your knee from side to side, and as you do that, really cultivate that sense of you're softening the leg rather than punishing your leg in any way. You're softening as you travel from right to left to right to left. You're hearing the smoothness of your movement. You're hearing the end of the range as you glide from one side to the other side. Nice. Bring your arms long beside you and then draw a circle with your left knee. And as you circle, hear the places of weakness and make the circle smaller in those places. So you're actually, rather than struggling in places, you're strengthening the stage just before it, which will naturally begin to then come into the next level eventually. But it's that thing of Really hear what's happening rather than struggle with the difficulty. Be at ease where you are. And then roll the circle in the other direction. Listening, cultivating a sense of listening. So for me, there's a funny wobble in one of the ranges here. I'm just trying to work out, what does that mean? Maybe if I go smaller, no, the wobble's still there. So I'm just listening. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but I'm just intrigued as to what's happening in my leg or what it's trying to tell me. What state can I change to really hear my leg? Nice. Squeeze the left knee towards you, hug it in. And stretch the left leg up, and as you stretch it, feel the extension of your leg and just pull your leg gently towards you. And then bend your knee and feel your leg as you squeeze your knee towards you. And then stretch through your leg, and each moment of the lengthening, feel your leg. From the very beginning to the very end, it's a smooth, soft movement. You're not jamming it, forcing it. Really hear your range and value and respect it. Squeeze your knee onto your chest. Stretch your left leg up, softening through the leg, a change in state in your leg. Bend your knee, and draw your knee down towards you. One more time. Stretch your leg up, really changing the sense of how you hold your leg. And bend your knee and bring your foot to the floor. Great. Both arms are long beside you, and then roll like there's a clock on the back of your pelvis. So your feet are on the floor and you're rolling out through the lower back. You're just checking in with the sense of how you mobilize and maneuver into the back of the pelvis, and then roll in the other direction. Nice. So push both feet down and just lift your bum, just 2 or 3 inches off the floor. Your bum is just hovering. And then extend both hands until your palms come to touch straight up towards the ceiling. And just have a feeling that your hands are together, they're stuck together, your arms are straight, and your hips have floated off the floor, and you feel the sense of, strength in your legs. You feel the pelvic floor, the belly. So it should be a very gentle abdominal strengthening. There's nothing gung-ho about this one. Just feel, yes, my bum is in the air and my arms are extending upwards. Drop your bum to the floor and keep both feet where they are, and then begin to draw the back of the right hand down towards the floor, over towards the right hand side. So as you draw your hand down, there's a certain point where your arm won't go any further because your arms are straight. And then come back up to center, both shoulders on the floor. Lift your bum just 1 inch off the floor. Just feeling your feet pushing into the floor, the sense of connection. And drop your bum to the floor, and then keeping your arms straight, bring your left hand down. So it's trying to come down towards the floor on the left hand side. Both arms are straight. Come back all the way to center. Lift your bum off the floor. So this is really, how do we mobilize our shoulders? Your bum is just floating off the floor. One more time each side. Drop your bum to the floor. Slowly begin to draw yourself smoothly over towards the right. How do you give it a little bit more space or a little bit more stretch? Both feet are flat on the floor. Come back up to center. Lift your hips off the floor just slightly. Nice. Last time, drop your bum to the floor, and then glide your left hand over towards the left. Both feet are flat on the floor. Just draw your shoulders over. Come all the way back. Nice. Slowly lower your 2 hands down to the floor above your head. And you might bend your elbows a little or a lot, and just feel that as your lower back arched, as your chest opened. Nice. Lift your hands up. And then lower them down till they rest on the floor beside your hips. Feel how your spine is now, the arch of your back, the opening of your chest. Can you feel the difference? Lift your arms overhead all the way till they go to the floor above your head. You can bend your elbows as much as you need to. Has the arch of your back and the opening of your chest changed? So glide your arms from beside you to rest on the floor, and it's not your arms you're listening to, it's how does my torso help my arms? What happens in my chest And go really slowly and softly. Bend your elbows as much as you need to. The more you bend your elbows, the less you're in your upper arms, you know, that kind of the deltoid area. So just really softly and smoothly drop your arms overhead, listening to how your chest opens, how your back arches slightly. To bring your hands beside you to the floor, feeling how your lower back is flat and your rib cage is tucked in a little bit more. Nice. Overhead again, dropping down to the floor above your head. And then last time, hands come to rest on the floor beside you. Nice. From here, roll over until you come to your hands and knees. So rolling slowly over. Coming up onto your hands and knees. And then when you're here, tuck your toes under, grab the floor with your fingers, and then rounding your back, tuck your chin under and look toward your belly button. And then arching your chest, lift and look forward. Nice. Rounding your back, tuck your chin under, looking towards your belly button. And then arching your back, lift your chest and look forward. And just do that a few times, really smooth movement. A little bit of movement in many different places as you arch your back, lift your chest, and then round your back and look towards your belly button. How do you hear your spine? What's it saying to you? Is it very comfortable? Is it a little bit achy? Is it speaking of ease or unease? How do you make it smoother? So make the movement maybe a little bit smaller, or make it slower. Just feel into your hips, feel into your shoulders. Nice. Come to a neutral spine and then roll out through your shoulders, big circles. And then roll in the other direction. Nice. Come to neutral. Bring your right ear down towards your right shoulder, gently. What do you do to, it's almost like how do you scratch your ear or the side of your head on your right shoulder? Come back to center. And then left ear down to your left shoulder. Listen as you go. And then back to center. Without moving anything else, tuck your chin under, looking towards your belly button. And then come to neutral. And then lift your head and look forward. And then neutral. Nice. Drop your right elbow down to the floor slowly. Come back up. Drop the left elbow down to the floor slowly. Come back up. Stretch your right leg long behind you. Lift your foot off the floor. Leg stretches long behind you. Bend your knee. Bring your knee to the floor. Stretch your left leg long behind you. Long and strong. Bend your knee. Bring your knee to the floor. Bend your right elbow. Bring it down. Come back up. Bend your left elbow. Bring it down. Come back up. Stretch your right leg long behind you. Lift it off the floor. Bend it. Bring it down. Stretch your left leg long behind you. Long and strong. And bring it down. Nice. Stretch your right hand in front of you so your fingertips still on the floor and your arm is straight. And then stretch your left leg long behind you and maybe lift it off the floor or keep your toes on the floor. See what's right. If you're finding that you're wobbling a bit, then keep your toes lightly on the floor. It's wonderful. Or let your toes hover. Maybe lift your right fingertips off the floor. Maybe just have one fingertip on the floor. See how that is? Nice. Bring your foot to the floor. Glide your hand all the way in. And bring your knee down. Last of these, reach your left hand forward. Fingertips are on the floor. They're touching the tips of the floor. Tips of your fingers to the floor. Stretch your right leg long. Keep your toe on the floor at the beginning and then see what it's like to float your right leg up. Maybe just have one finger of the left hand on the floor. Really see what the balance is like for you. Where is that point of you're still at your working edge. You're still able to do and be in this moment. And just notice how it is. Maybe it's different from side to side. Drop your foot to the floor, slide your hand back, bend your knee down, and then just come to sit into a child's pose. All the way down. Rounding down, supporting your head or doing whatever you need to do. Breathing into the back of your body, connecting into the back of the shoulders, the back of the rib cage, the back of the waist. Nice, and just stretch your arms out long in front of you. You can lift your head up a little bit or keep your head low and just rock a little bit from side to side in your child's pose. Just bring a little bit of weight to the right leg, a little bit of weight to the left leg, and just feel that. Where do you notice it? Can you make it a smooth movement? As soon as I think of smooth, suddenly I engage my center a little bit more so than flopping from side to side. Suddenly I'm like, ooh, I have to be smooth, and I can feel like I embody a different sense of my body, a different sense of me when I want to make it smooth. I begin to notice the end of the movement a little bit more through the side body. Nice, and then come all the way up onto your hands and knees. So do the same movement here. Rock a little bit from side to side, bringing your weight into the right hand, right knee, and then left hand, left knee. And just feeling how you rock from side to side. Maybe try and lift one knee a little bit off the floor, literally let it hover. It's not really lifting, it's just that because I've taken the weight off it, it lifts. Let's feel that. And then keeping your knees on the floor, let your one hand lift because you've rocked, the other hand lift because you've rocked. Really feel, you can really feel the weight of your body into your shoulders as you do that. One more time with the knees. Right knee lifts, left knee lifts, right knee lifts, and left knee lifts. Great. From here, we'll walk your feet a little bit forward. You'll walk your knees a little bit forward. Push your hands down, push your feet down, and slowly walk your hands back and bring your elbows to your knees. And just pause there with your elbows on your knees. Your knees are deeply bent. Nice. Bring your hands to your knees. Just pause there for a moment. And we're going to do the cat pose here. So your hands are holding onto your kneecaps. I've got this lovely hold of a circle of my knees. And then round your back and look towards your navel. And then arch your back and look forward. Round your back, look towards your navel. And then arch your back and look forward. Nice, one more time. Round your back, look towards your navel. Arch your back and look forward. Nice. Rounding your back, slowly roll up until you come to standing. And when you come to stand, really feel like you find your center. Because we were kind of down, on the floor, we were crawling we were rounded a little bit there. And then when you come up to stand, feel like you're pushing into your feet, your shoulders are wide, and you found your stand. This strong, steady place in you where you feel you're upright and wide. Nice. And then start to soften into your knees, bending your knees, begin to roll slowly down. So you're rolling down through the spine smoothly, softening through the knees all the time, so your knees are bending until you come down. Maybe your hands come down towards your feet, or maybe they stop somewhere near your knees. And then slowly rounding back up. Really experiencing the spine. And when you come all the way to stand again, find your stand. I kind of feel like John Wayne or something in this moment. I'm like, really strong. I kind of hear Western music in my head. So again, rounding slowly down. If you don't experience that, that's okay. Slowly rolling down, all the way down until your belly meets your thighs, you're rounded forward. And then push your feet into the floor and slowly coming all the way up and find your stand. Find that solid, steady place where your feet are connected, your knees are strong, your hips feel strong, your spine is lengthening out of your hips, out of the pelvis, your shoulders are wide, your arms are hanging. You have a sense that your head and neck are in the right place. And then just roll through your shoulders. Just a big circle with your shoulders. And as you roll, just hear your shoulder blades gliding on the back of your rib cage. Hear the collarbones. I was really intrigued by the sensations of my collarbones. I know what they look like, I know what they feel like to poke with my fingers, but when they move, they don't feel like what they look like to me. Like, couldn't imagine that the sensation that I'm feeling at the front of my shoulder, the front of my chest right now, is two bones that move outwards. It's just, they feel like, can't even describe the direction they go in. They're just strange, I find. And then roll in the other direction and feel your collarbones again. And how would you draw the feeling of your collarbones, or how would you describe the way they move? Nice. And then just finding your stand again. Feeling tall, maybe you're taller through the top of your head. And then make fists out of your hands and roll into your fists. Find your stand. You're feeling your feet on the floor, you're rolling into your wrists, and then roll in the other direction. Really enjoy the sense of length through your body. Nice. Lower your hands down beside you. Very slowly rock a little bit onto your toes and let your heels literally hover 1 millimeter or 1 centimeter off the floor. It's no big, you're not on really high heels, you're literally hovering just off the floor. Your weight has traveled into the toes. And then drop your heels down slowly. And again, lift your heels up. And as you drop your heels down, let it be very controlled, like you're placing your heels really slowly onto the floor. So try that again. Rock into the toes, let your heels lift slightly. And then place your heels back down onto the floor. And again, rocking forward, so you rise a little bit onto your toes, very subtly. Notice which foot works harder. And then very gently place your heels on the floor and find your stand. For me now, since I've done that, I feel much more into the back of my body, into the back of my rib cage. Nice. So stand your feet a little bit apart and then roll into your hips. As you roll into your hips, as always, hear the speed bumps. There's certain places that twang in our hip circuit. And so slow them down and be smooth in how you move into your hips, into your thighs, into the belly. And then roll in the other direction. Maybe hearing the twanginess and slow it down, or make the movement a bit less in that place. You don't have to force your body into any discomfort. You can really hear it and respond. Nice. Bring your hands to your hips and then lean your hips towards the right. And lean your torso towards the left. And then just sway from side to side. So you're leaning your hips to the right, your torso to the left, hips to the left, torso to the right. You're just really leaning into the side body. Feel the sides of your thighs, the side of your hips. And then as you lean towards the left, slide your right hand down. Come back up. As you lean to the right, slide your left hand down. So sliding from side to side. And then maybe I'll see it. So I'll explain it on one side. So lean your hips to the right and slide your right hand as high as you can. So your fingertips are trying to come to your armpit and your elbows really high, and your left fingers are down towards your knee. And then change. Bend the left elbow, stretch through the right as you lean towards your hips move towards the right, your right elbow is up. Your hip moves to the left, your left elbow is up. So feel the side, like really drag your hands around the side of the rib cage, because that's what's opening. How do you really feel that opening through the side of your rib cage, leaning into that hand as it glides down. Can you feel into the calf, into the knee? Can you find that last moment of a hike of the elbow, shoulder, just to bring yourself a little bit higher up the armpit. Nice. One more time each side. Hearing the side body, such an amazing place. And then come back to center and then just find your stand. Maybe bring your feet slightly closer or not. Nice. Tuck your chin in. And then draw your ear over towards the right. And then chin down. And then ear over towards the left. So for me, it's a pinching angle. It's kind of catches when I go towards the left. So I'm going to make the movement to the left smaller next time I go there. So I'm not going to let it pinch. So you have to listen as you go and make the movement smaller. So see if you can allow that you move your head from side to side, but you're moving so carefully and tenderly, you're not allowing the pinching angle to really manifest as you travel from side to side. So you're making the movement less. It's different than how we were taught. I was always taught if something's tight, go for it. Whereas actually listening and caring for the pinching angle of your neck actually allows that it begins to change rather than be attacked. And just hearing as you travel gently without hurting yourself from one side to the other side. It's such a relief to my neck. It's going, oh, you're hearing me. Nice. Come back to center and just roll your shoulder blades again. Feel those amazing collarbones. And then roll in the other direction. Nice. So bring your feet a little bit wider. So your feet are maybe 1.5 feet apart. And then bring both elbows to your knees. And then reach your right hand forward and just touch the floor in front of you. And then bring both elbows to your knees. And then reach your left hand forward and touch the floor in front of you. And then both elbows to your knees. And then reach the right hand forward. Maybe go a tiny bit further, so bend your knees a little bit more. Reach a little bit more. For me, I feel that in the back of my waist and into my buttocks and my hip. Come back. And then reach your left hand out forward. And then go a little bit deeper. Nice. Both elbows to your knees. Bring your right hand to your knee. Turn and look towards the right. And bring your right elbow down. Both elbows are on your knees. Bring your left hand to your knee. Turn your chest towards the left. And bring both elbows down. Bring both hands to the floor just for a moment. Both hands to the floor. Great. Both elbows to your knees. Both hands to your knees. Slowly rounding your back. Come all the way up to stand. Nice. Bring your feet towards each other. Actually, we'll roll out through our hips one more time. And as you roll, for me now, there's a little bit more twang in the front of my hips because of the closing that we were doing there when we were standing. I just noticed that. How has something changed in your hips now as we listen, as we hear? Nice. So one last time, find your stand. Where is the length of you? The push into the floor, the rising up through your head. Nice. And then I'm going to roll down and then come to sit. So rolling down along your spine, bring your elbows to your knees. Bring your hand to the floor, bring your other hand to the floor. Step your feet back a little bit. And then drop both knees down to the floor. And just come rest into your child's pose. You can reach your hands out forward or just have your hands in front of your face and just rock a little bit from side to side. Just gently. It's a bit like the smush we do into the hip. You're just hearing how the joints move sideways a little bit. Very subtle. Right, so bring your hands either side of you. And which way do you go? So you're going to drop your bum down in one direction and then slowly swing your feet out forward. For me, I go right. See which way you go or how you do this. How do you do that? So then stretch your legs out forward. Just roll out through your ankles. And then roll in the other direction. I've been back cycling this week. It's been amazing. Didn't go today. I think it was weather conditions that turned me off it. But oh, cycling is so liberating. Open your toes really wide. Squeeze your toes in. Open your toes wide. Squeeze your toes in. And one more time. Open your toes wide. Squeeze your toes in. So bring your hands to the floor either side of you and just rock your bum a little bit from side to side. And then like we did on the floor, now find your seat. How do you, what do you do? Maybe bring your hands to your thighs. It's a bit nicer than the floor. Hands to your thighs. How do you rise through your spine and be as tall as you can in this shape? So your legs will be telling you a little more information. There may be some drag. And then slowly turn your head to the right. And then bring your right hand behind you. And try and look around the corner to the right. Nice. Come back to center, sitting up tall. Bring your left hand behind you. Turn and look around the left corner. And coming back. Take your right hand, reach it forward towards the right foot. And coming back. Take the left hand, reach it forward to the left foot. And coming back. Bend the right elbow, reach it up towards the ceiling, reaching up and looking up if your neck allows. Hear your neck, don't force it into discomfort. Bend your elbow. Bend your left elbow, reach it up towards the ceiling if your neck allows. Look up as well, or look wherever it feels comfortable. Bend your elbow and bring it down. Reach your right hand as far to the right as you can. See what point you can touch. Nice. And then take your left hand and reach it as far to the left as you can. And coming back. Nice. Take your right hand and reach the left. And then take your left hand and reach the right. I always meet something really weird when I do that. Something on the back of my arm always feels a bit strange. It's amazing. Again, we'll do that again. It was such fun. Reach your right hand to the left. Where does this catch you? Where do you meet things here? And then bring the left hand to the right. Nice. And come back to center. Bring your feet so that they're flat on the floor and around 2 feet apart. Drop both knees down towards the right. Sitting up tall. Bring your right hand to the floor and then reach your left hand straight forward towards the right so it's straight out in front of you. Nice. Come back, draw your elbow back like a bow and arrow. So your thumb is near your shoulder, your elbow is pulling back. And then reach your left hand again way over towards the right. And then pulling back, draw your elbow back towards behind you, bring your thumb to your shoulder. One more time, reach your left hand to the right. And then come back. Lift your knees back up to center. Drop both knees down towards the left. Bring your left hand to the floor. Reach your right hand towards the left. Pull your elbow back. Bring your thumb to your shoulder. Reach your right hand to the left. Pull your elbow back. Nice. And again, reach your right hand to the left. Pull your elbow back. Nice. Draw both knees back up to center. And then just drop both knees to the right again. This time bring your right hand to the floor, bring your left hand to the floor. And see what it might be like to bring your nose down towards that right knee. And then come back up. Just straighten your arms. And again, bring your nose down to your right knee. Don't in any way hurt your knee. Just listen. Straighten through your arms. One more time. Draw your nose down to your knee. and all the way back up. Nice. Come back to center. Walk your feet maybe a little bit forward, your feet have all moved. Drop your knees down to the left, bring your left hand down, bring your right hand down. Drop your nose down towards your knee. Listening in, really hearing smooth movement, straighten through your arms. As soon as I think smooth movement, everything changes. It's like I go from being slightly crinkled or something or disconnected to like kind of connected through my body. So smooth movement, bring your nose down to your knee. Coming all the way back up. And one more time, and draw your nose down to your knee. And all the way back up. Nice. Come back to center. Stretch both legs long in front of you. So super. And then bend your right knee and bring your foot up towards you and just massage your right foot. Just give thanks for all the steps you've taken today. Into the sole of your foot, into your toes, into the arch of your foot, the heel, nice. Stretch your leg long. Feel the difference in your feet, even the colour. It's a different colour for me, one foot to the other. And then bend your left knee. Draw your foot in towards you. Give thanks for all the steps you took today. Massaging into the right foot, the toes, the arch, the heel, and a bit of a rub. Stretch your leg out long in front of you. Yeah, the colour changed. Nice, how cool. And then come to sit at the front of your mat and slowly just rolling backwards. So as you roll backwards, rounding your back and let yourself fall all the way back onto the floor. Squeeze your knees up towards you and gently rock from side to side. As you rock, get a sense of the feeling of how your back travels from the shoulder to the other shoulder. How the weight of your body travels from the back of one hip to the other. Nice. And then roll like there's a clock on the back of your pelvis. So your knees are close, your feet are touching perhaps, and you're just rolling into the lower back. And then roll in the other direction. Hearing, listening. Butterfly knees. Slowly widen into your knees. Draw your knees apart, toes are touching. And then circle your knees. So you're drawing your knees close to your chest, your knees are widening, your toes are drawing down in the direction of the floor. So as you roll your knees, really feel into the deep of your hip, the deep of your buttocks. And then roll in the other direction. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Nice. Bring both feet to the floor. Feet are mat distance apart. Stretch your arms out to the side and really inhabit your space. Be in the whole of your body. And then smoothly drop both knees down to the right. And just let yourself drop deeply through your thighs. Really feel into the front of that left hip, the front of your left leg. Nice. Come back up to center. Drop both knees down towards the left and just really fall deeply down to that right thigh, that right hip. Nice. And come all the way back up to center. Walk your feet until your feet are together. And then drop your knees wide. You can bring your thighs to your soles of your feet together, knees apart. You can bring your hands to your lower belly, or you can bring your hands to your inner thighs, or wherever feels comfortable for you. You can drop your arms out and up overhead if you wish. And just see, how would you sink and deepen into your belly, deepen into your inner thighs, widen into the lower back. As you settle, as you soften, find your breath into your belly. Settling, deepening, softening. As always, if ever you're in this pose and it just feels like, no, I don't like it, then don't do it. So it depends on your pelvis, on your knees, on your hips. Nice. And then slowly drawing your knees towards each other. Squeeze the right knee up onto your chest, just hug it in. And just really appreciate the deep of your lower back, the wide of the buttock. And then release. And draw the left knee up towards you. As you do so, really hear the deep of your hip, the wide of the buttock, the lower back. And then just stretch both arms straight up towards the ceiling. Make fists out of your hands and just roll into your wrists. As you roll into your wrists, as you hear your wrists, and roll in the other direction. Nice. From here, you can either keep your knees bent or you can stretch your legs out long. Blanket might be nice. It is July, you know. So see what you need to really be comfortable, for you to be really connected and just hear the voice of, oh, a blanket would be lovely right now, or not. And then when you've settled, when you've seen to the comfort of this moment, let yourself fall into yourself. I often feel like I'm like a souffle falling inwards. I just love that feeling of like whoosh, it's like collapsing in on myself. Enfolding, internal, inside, insight, intuition. They're all in places, really. So as you breathe into your belly, as you settle into your belly, as you soften into this moment, as you move into smoothness in yourself, smooth breathing, smooth presence, whole body, really inhabiting the whole of you right now, to the edges of you, to the outsides of your arms, to the outsides of your legs, to the front of the body, to the back, to the insides of you. Insight, inside. Often at the end of a class, I can really feel the beauty of the inside spaces. It's easy to inhabit, to be present to those layers of yourself, perhaps, that are smooth, that are steady, that are easy within you. And so just be with that in this moment. Where do you feel a sense of okayness in this moment? Where can you be wholesome? Nice. Oh, beautiful. So slowly just taking a deep breath into your belly. And just begin to lengthen into your toes and stretch into your fingers, and then elongate through your arms, and find the whole of you in expansion, in lengthening, in opening. Nice. And either drawing your knees up or rocking your knees over. How lovely.